This is a podcast where we discuss all aspects of personalities and human behavior.
We are three professional counselors and your hosts. I'm Heather.
I'm Amy.
I'm Erin. Welcome to the Personality Pod.
Hello. Welcome to the Personality Pod.
Yay.
Hello.
Hi, Heather.
Hi.
So glad we're together.
Again.
Oh, this makes me so happy.
Me too.
I get so jealous you guys get to see each other. I really do. I know that is so lame. I don't miss work at all.
You
but I
really
miss you
shouldn't
guys.
be too jealous because I'm not very fun at work. I feel so overwhelmed in this moment. I had a lot of new work this week
Go.
that kept me super busy.
So it's lame, Heather, at work?
Well,
It is.
we're in work mode.
lame.
I
You
know.
We're
Lame.
working all day. So the conversations that we have that are fun are few and far between. So I promise you're not missing anything.
I miss the interaction. Seriously, I can't tell you. Like, that was one thing I was not prepared for. I think I was prepared for a lot of other things, but I didn't
I
realize
should
how
have
much
told you, but I like that, so I guess I didn't think of it as a problem.
it just
But I should have known.
it really threw me that just even coming in and just seeing you guys and even work conversations, it's different.
Yeah, we should back up for a minute. Erin, you are no longer working and you're at home. And so that's what you're saying. You miss the interaction of talking to other grown-ups on a regular basis.
Not even other grown-ups though, you guys. Like there is definitely a part of it. Like
When I said I should have known, I didn't mean us. I meant talking to people.
the lack of
period.
interaction altogether definitely has had an impact, but I think I've been able to balance that with different things, with volunteering and doing stuff like that. There is definitely a part of that I've had to what's the word I want to use? I've had to find another way to get my extroversion to get
I
fulfilled.
think you've done pretty good with that.
But no, I miss my friends. So
I understand that. Heather was at a training Friday a week ago. And just coming to work and her not being there, it's just like,
It was,
yeah.
I'm sorry, but it was such a good training. I'm
she
very
totally
happy
didn't
I
miss you
went.
that day, Amy.
I was absorbed.
That's wonderful.
Yes.
But no, it does make
It was a professional training, but it
Yeah.
also had very personal, emotional value
It
to
did.
you, which is
did.
good that you got to go there. But being back at work without you there is not fun. So I understand, Erin.
You
that
get it. I know you do.
Yeah, not getting to check in and just say, hey, how you doing? And how was your night? And how was the
going
concert?
on?
And, all that kind of stuff. Just getting those updates live and getting to see you.
Yeah.
It was daily updates on just finding out how things are. All of a sudden I'll hear one of you say something and react to it. And I'm like, I didn't even know that happened. Or when did you do that? And I'm like,
Right.
It's my little
Well, I have
spiral.
an idea. Let's make a podcast together where we make so many podcasts.
I'm
and then
on
we can
board.
work together again.
Okay. Can I see you guys then?
Yes.
Always.
Okay.
All the time. We're
I'm
going to
in.
move in.
I'm in.
going to move in.
I have a space.
I'm not
I am
moving in, but
excited.
I'll come over every day.
You'll be here. Okay.
All
Fair
right.
enough. Done.
Let's do it.
One problem solved. All right. The world's a better place now.
Well, I'm willing to be a guinea pig today.
Yay.
One of the things that was the driving force behind starting the podcast in the first place is that we love to have conversations about our own behaviors and why do we do what we do? Why do we like what we like? Why do we not like what we like? All those kinds of things. So today I'm willing to put one of my biggest fears out into the world. I think people are going to resonate with this. I don't think I'm alone with this fear, and ask questions or guide me through it. Maybe help me put this behind me once and for all.
I don't know.
Doubtful, but
Yeah. I mean, we're
we're
good.
A sneaking suspicion,
but we're not that
I
good.
think.
I'm curious which one you're picking.
Oh, I know. I have a couple fears. There's no lying
That's
about it.
true.
I'm a fear-based kind of person on the inside, so there could be a couple of different things that could come up. But today I have one in particular that I would like to share
Okay.
with the world,
Yay.
and that is
We'll keep the other one private.
until the next episode.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll see how this goes.
I'll just tell my quick story. Wow, my heart is pounding.
I can see you're uncomfortable.
It makes me vulnerable to talk about it out loud because I am as old as I am, and this is from a long time ago.
You're just with your friends.
I know.
I don't know which one you're choosing, but I think Aaron and I know what your fears are. It's just us.
I know.
I don't think we're going to be
that.
surprised by it.
I don't
but-
think
No,
so
you're not
either.
surprised. You guys know what this is. It's
course.
just the fact that I'm talking about it because I don't even like saying this thing out loud. And
Yeah.
and
It's like
knowing that someone
Voldemort.
else might.
He who must not be named.
It's like Voldemort.
Sorry, Amy.
Heather
That's
is
a-
going to, it's kind of like Seinfeld where he brings in Superman on every episode. Heather's going to find a way to bring up Harry Potter.
I do
I'm
love. Sorry,
very
Amy.
excited.
I know you don't like Harry Potter, or you don't. It's not that you don't like it. You just don't know
doesn't
it.
know it.
So
I just haven't read
super
Harry Potter.
fast. There's a bad character, and they don't like to say his name, so they call him "He who must not be named."
They refer to him.
That's how
as
they
that.
refer to that character, and they won't say his name.
And
Okay.
Harry
And I
owns
think-
it. Harry says his name.
That's
a
why I
lot.
said it's like Voldemort.
Okay. So, all right, here's the story. When I believe I was about 9 or 10, I watched the movie The Exorcist. And my parents, I've asked them about that as I got older. They swear that I did not see this at my house. I certainly didn't go to the movies to see it.
Okay.
So I have no memory of where I saw it or who was around at the time. But the original Exorcist, which came out in, I think, 74 or 75, right around the time I was born.
Wow.
And I've even tried to do research to find out, like, when is the first time that it was shown, like on cable TV,
yeah.
or when was it released on, I don't know, would we have had a VCR then?
Yeah, I think that's VHS.
I don't know, but I don't know where
Clearly
I saw
not
it, but-
appropriate for your age.
Oh my gosh.
That's like when I was about the same age when I saw Porky's.
Oh,
Wow.
Not from
A different kind of inappropriate, but
Sorry, Amy. I'm just trying to help.
I've not heard the word Porky's in so long. And
just
that,
fill your heart with joy.
it
All
gives
right.
my heart a lot of joy. That movie is quite the opposite for me.
Totally inappropriate for a 9-year-old. So
Right.
Totally
Yes,
different level,
okay.
but
okay, so
Heather
The
understands.
Exorcist. If I'm sure if you have seen this movie, there is a part of you that understands how traumatizing that would have been to a little 9-year-old girl. And it's such a jacked up movie. Still, in this year, every year around Halloween they do the top scariest movies. It is still rated as the #1 scariest movie of all time. This
yeah.
many years later.
yeah.
They talk about at the time that people were like running, like screaming out of the movie theater. It is so disturbing on a different level.
yeah,
But
Aaron, have you seen it?
I have seen the original Exorcist.
I have
and
not.
It took me a long time. I did not see it as a child at all. In fact, I saw it when I was probably in my 30s for the first time. And I actually think it was your complete description of it that I was like, I got to see this thing. I really got to know what's going on here. I'd seen clips, I'd seen stories, but I had not seen the whole thing. So I was definitely at an age where I understood it. And trust me, even in an age now where they can make everything look realer, there is something just wrong about that movie, about the whole situation.
as an adult, at some point in college, I watched it again.
Oh, did you really?
I did.
Oh,
And when I'm in the process of watching it, I can see the stupid parts about it. I can like her head turning around. Like that was never the scary part for me. I can see, I'm like, well, this is kind of hokey. And this is, while I'm watching it, it's not nearly as bad, but it's what it did to me all those years ago that I just can't release that part.
yeah.
And I think partly it was because I was this little girl with a round face with brown hair.
Was she? See, I have not seen this movie. Were you about the same age
I
as
was
the little
close.
girl in the
She was-
movie?
She was 12.
Okay.
And I'm saying I was 9, but I really have no evidence of that. I could have been 12 years old too.
She was. You identified with her.
Yes.
Absolutely. So this little girl who has her cousin over and they find a Ouija board and they're just playing around. I had a Ouija board when I was a kid. we did not
We've
understand.
all played around with them.
Yeah. I would have sleepovers.
Not
and
true.
Keep in mind, Heather, we also had televisions, which is slightly different than your childhood.
But,
So,
yeah, like I had a Ouija board when I was a kid. We played with those. We did seances when we'd have sleepovers, you know, stuff like that. So I 100% identified with this little kid. And it
Did you have the idea that it could be real? Like when you
Absolutely.
saw it when you were a little girl?
oh my God, 100%. 100%. I believed that this could really happen, that you could be possessed by the devil. That
For the record, truly, I believe that
you
could
still believe
happen.
possession can
and
happen.
that's Heather
I do.
speaking.
Oh.
I know sometimes it's hard to
Yeah,
tell
I
which
know.
one of us
This
is
is
talking.
Heather, and I do believe that is still possible. So when I say, "Did you think that's real?" I was not.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. And I have said throughout my entire life, now this is horrible and I don't really want to say this, but men are scary to me,
Okay.
but not nearly as scary as the idea of being possessed by the devil. So like if a man, even if I was safe in my home and an intruder came in, at least I have a fighting chance.
Sure.
I'm going to kick him in the nuts. I'm going to stab him in the eye. I'm going to do whatever I have to do. And I have a fighting chance. With something that's supernatural like that, there's no way to protect yourself. I mean, in that movie, I remember, oh, Lord, I'm having a slight heart attack.
Amy's
but,
having a physical
you
reaction.
know, that they have this entire team of priests praying over this little girl, and it's not strong enough. Even in the end, it's not that the priest saved her. God did not come in and save her. The devil went from her to the priest.
Yeah.
And he jumps out the window and kills himself. They never saved her. You know, God never came in and saved the day and like wrapped his arms or ooh, I'm gonna have some jacked up nightmares tonight. Oh my God. This is so vulnerable for me, you guys.
Hold on. Let's finish this conversation and hopefully you won't.
But the fact that there was no good, it didn't seem like nothing was powerful enough. The devil was more powerful than even God, because God never came to save this little girl. All that happened was the devil left her to go to the priest because he was going to attack him or do whatever he was going to do to him.
Yep.
And the priest kills himself. So that is to believe that your parents believe in God and that God is going to protect you at all cost, and then to see an example of a little girl just like you, and God does not have the ability or the desire to save her or protect her, was terrifying and bigger than any little kid should ever have to deal with, I think.
Goodness.
And I believe that led to me being a fear-based person. I already was. I was shy. I was clingy. I did not talk to people. And then to have this, it just tilted my entire world on its axis. And it felt like the world is a terrifying place. And there is not even a God in this world that can protect me from the evils that exist.
Evil.
And throughout my life, I've had visions of that little girl, Reagan, when she's full-blown possessed, which to me is still the most terrifying image I have ever seen. And
do you remember the first time you had that image? Was it right immediately after, or was it?
Well, what do you mean? Like where it popped up into my mind?
Yes.
Oh, yes, absolutely. It was immediate, and it would always be like mostly at bedtime. You know, when you have to go to bed, you have to turn out the lights, feeling like she was under my bed, or she was in my bed right next to me, or that she was on my ceiling and looking down at me. Just these that still in my 40s, when I turn out the lights to go to bed, it will flash in my mind.
Oh my gosh.
It will flash in my mind. So my brothers, I had 3 brothers. I still have 3 brothers.
Yes.
But I had 3 brothers when I was a kid. They knew this movie terrorized me, and they helped further traumatize me.
Yes.
Andy in particular, Andy Harrison in particular helped to further traumatize me. They got a poster of her full-blown possessed mode with all those cuts and tears in her face and the eyes that are just dead and
The hair.
and we lived in a 2-story house with a basement when I was a little kid. And to get to our laundry room, you had to go downstairs and you had to turn a corner, and it was an unfinished part of the basement. It was scary just by itself. They hung that poster on the wall when you went around the corner. And I think I probably died for a couple of seconds the first time I saw that. Like, I think my heart literally stopped beating because it was so unexpected. And
even in a place where you're already feeling vulnerable, you're
Please
walking
tell
downstairs.
me they didn't know how. I'm sorry, Erin.
No, I mean, you already are on edge when you walk downstairs.
When you're a little kid and you're going down to the unfinished part of the basement, it's so creepy. So that was...
They didn't know how much it's... I mean, they knew it scared you, but they didn't know how deeply...
Yeah, they didn't know that it was a psychological, like, trauma, I think, to see that.
I would call it that.
Right. No, of course they didn't understand. They're all younger than I am. But so it has been with me throughout my life. I think somewhere in my early teens, I want to say around 13, 14, I decided very consciously that I was no longer going to believe in God, because if you don't believe there's God, then you don't believe there's a devil or evil. If there's no good, there's no evil. And I was like, you know what? This is just, we just came from these amoeba and we evolved into these human beings, and we're here for like 80 years. And then you die and you go into the ground and you become worm food.
Yep.
And that's it. And there's no magical forces. There's no God. There's no devil. That's just a bunch of hoo-ha. And I became very scientifically minded for a very long time. A very long time.
Did it work to ease that fear of her? You know how you were saying it came up at night, or
it made it manageable.
Yeah,
somewhat. And it wasn't until
I was going to say until
I had kids.
Yeah.
And then like things changed. Like, that's not my true belief. It's not what I believe with all my heart and my soul. I believe there is something much bigger than us. I believe there is some other force that is behind all of this. I don't know what it is, and I don't know what to call it or anything like that. But I think there's way too many things that are not just a coincidence that happen in this world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Too many things that we can't explain, and maybe we're just not far enough evolved yet, and answers will come to us over time. I don't know. But I do know that there's something bigger at play here, which has, again, left me exposed to...
Reignited.
Yeah. Now I do have a couple of guardian angels that I know personally, my grandma and my Aunt B, who have passed, that if I'm really freaking out, I will call on them, you know, to come, and I pull their image up, which is stronger than the image of that kid from The Exorcist. But so this was so much of an issue for me that I went and saw a specialized type of therapist who does EMDR, eye movement desensitization and reprocessing. And it's a special kind of therapy that is done specifically for somebody who's been through a trauma.
Yeah.
And it's based on REM sleep, that when you are going to sleep, you know how your eyes, they kind of move back and forth. And scientists believe that the value of REM sleep is that it's helping you to process whatever you went through that day, or worries that you're having. It's a time for your brain to kind of reboot, make sense of everything that's happening.
Put things in their place.
Exactly.
Put everything in the right file so that your life can stay organized and make sense. And so they use that same approach while you're awake, where they can either have a light bar, like where a light goes from left to right, left to right, left to right, and you just follow it with your eyes, so you're mimicking that REM sleep. or they might have an actual, just like it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what it is. Just so your eyes are moving back and forth, Or now they have these little like eggs that are electronic that you can hold in your hand, and it'll vibrate in your left hand, then your right, your left, your right. And it just brings your brain's attention to each side of your body. And the therapist has you describe the traumatic event while you're holding these eggs or watching this light bar. And they have specific techniques they use to try to help you stay in your body and not escape. And really think about it and process it. So I did about 6 sessions with one of these EMDR therapists. And what I was able to get from that, I still have the images.
Okay.
They still pop into my mind. But now I can take her and put her in this box that's like made of plexiglass, and it is so thick that it's like bulletproof. You know, like you cannot shatter this. It cannot be broken. I can put her in it. In my mind, I send her out of my house, out behind this little shed that we have out by the woods, so that I can't see her and she can't see me. And if she's making any noises or trying to talk, I see this lemon get shoved in her mouth.
Oh.
And she cannot talk to me. And she's all upset and pissed because she's in the box and she's sucking on a lemon and it's sour. And I don't know. I can't explain.
So it's a bit of a silly image.
Yeah, I can't explain why that's what came to me, and I'm not questioning it, but it works.
Exactly.
Okay.
So I can see it, and I will have the, like the fear come over me, but then I'm like, get in your boxing, and then I'll see it go
suck on a lemon,
and then get behind that house, and you suck on that lemon, and then it goes.
It dissipates.
It goes.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
So
I think I'm freaking crazy, but
that's not true. That's not true at all. Tell me why you said you were going to have nightmares tonight.
Because anytime I talk about it, I'm bringing the image up again in my mind and just talking about it and feeling those feelings again, feeling the vulnerability of being a little kid back in that house, going down in the basement, seeing that poster, just having those memories come up again makes it that much fresher. And
you have your tools, though.
I do have the box and the lemon. I've tried, you guys, I know you to get rid of this. I, in the past 2 years, even watched the behind the scenes on YouTube, the making of The Exorcist.
Yeah.
So seeing her, she really was just this little kid. And she talks about how they kept the set so fun. And she loved all the food that they had. And everybody was so cool. And she loved having the makeup done. And she did not have a clue what was happening or what the content of it was or why this was going to be the most terrifying movie ever made.
Yeah. They protected her very well in regards to the horrible things that the movie showed.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they show her having her makeup done, and I can handle it all the way until they put the contacts in.
Yeah.
Something about, man, when those eyes, when they get that glazed over and they look dead, it is so terrifying to me. That I was going along and she's, got all this creepy makeup on and she's smiling and like doing a little dance
like a kid.
and stuff, acting totally like a kid.
Yeah.
And I'm actually smiling along with her thinking this is kind of funny. Then they put the contacts in and she turns her head towards the camera real slow and freaking creepy like. And I'm like,
and Amy went into convulsions.
There she is.
Yeah. Oh God.
So scary. And like I said, I've tried watching it as an adult and it's not even really the movie anymore. It's just what it represents.
Exactly.
Yeah. And some of it is about the lack of control you felt as a kid.
Right.
And I wonder about, we had talked about doing some inner child work before. And I wonder if doing some work with that little girl that watched that film, that girl, that fear, that lack of control, because you have done the work around that image.
Right.
But that girl,
she did not feel safe.
and had no control, and this might be too far.
No. I mean, these are all things that I've thought about, and I can intellectualize the snot
heck
out
yeah.
of this. I mean, I can think about it from every single angle.
But 9-year-olds don't intellectualize.
Right.
And that,
Even
they
when I
don't.
was working with the EMDR therapist, you know, and we're doing this, and we've done this several times, and she would say, bring forth the image. Where do you feel it in your body? I'd
Where
be
do you
like,
feel it?
I don't feel it.
Oh.
So there's still parts that
Ooh,
are.
but I know
it's
who does.
disconnected.
It's that 9-year-old that watched.
Right.
And I think trying to figure out, I think that would be a scary task to try to access her.
Yeah,
I think we
don't know
all
what to say
carry
about
those
that.
experiences with us, and especially with trauma, those memories and feelings are laid down in that age that we were. So
Absolutely. When you start basing other life decisions on that, such as not believing in God, you know,
Right.
like having that firm foundation for a while that no, this
Too
would
scary.
make,
It
it
was
would make
too
this make
scary.
sense. Like that's
Safer.
exactly what trauma is. Trauma doesn't make sense. And so if we can make some sense of it, then we at least are able to, like you said, function, deal with it. But sometimes when that reality or that decision is then rocked, all of a sudden it rocks so many things.
Well, just everything. I mean,
Yeah.
everything. Feeling like when you're still that age, you know, some of my earliest memories are like going to preschool for the first time. I believe I was 3. I've asked my mom about this. I was 3. There was a little dance studio down the road where you could go for preschool for half a day in the morning. So it was dancing, but it was also learning.
Gotcha.
And I remember that first day being absolutely just scared out of my mind. I remember Mrs. Myrtle had to hold me down, like restrain me as my mom was walking out the door. So I know that I was a fearful kid anyway. I was shy. I was overly connected to my mom. But there was this thought that my mom can protect me. I'm safe when I'm with her. I will be okay. And that movie, like I said, the mother in that movie is so helpless and
Yes.
so scared and can do nothing. And she calls in the only people she knows, the Catholic Church, and they can't do anything. And therefore, you know, like I said, God can't do anything, which, wow.
Oh.
Okay. That's heavy duty. I saw that movie. And I remember, Heather, you asked me when did I see that? When did I have the first image of it or whatever? And it had to be immediately. I remember having the most horrific nightmare and feeling like I can't remember the specifics, but something was trying to invade me. Something was trying to possess me. And I woke up. I don't think ever in my life I've woke up like screaming or crying, but I did.
Oh my
And
gosh.
my Aunt B and my mom were at home. They both came running to my room. I think this is a real memory. I don't talk to my mom about this necessarily, but I remember them both come into my room and like, what's wrong? What happened? And they asked me, did you have a bad dream? And I shook my head, yes. And they said, what were you dreaming about? And I said, a dinosaur was chasing me because there was something in my mind that knew, don't tell them what you really just dreamed about. Like,
Did they not know you saw the movie?
I don't know if they.
it was too scary.
It was too scary. I think, though, there's a part of me that thought it would be too scary for them.
Oh, you were protecting them?
I don't think they would have known what to do with that.
I wouldn't.
I think I had to downplay it so that they would not be terrified along with me.
Oh.
I don't know. That's me as an adult thinking that now, but I specifically remember I can see my blanket that was on my bed at that time. I can see the room. I see them coming in and very concerned and me in the moment deciding to say it was a dream about a dinosaur.
Oh, wow.
Which was the first thing that came to my mind. And so I know there's something about that. I know there's something to that I couldn't even say it. Was that to protect myself? Was that to deny the reality of it? Was that to protect them? Was that because I didn't trust them? I don't know what was going on there, but that was very, very soon after I saw the movie for the first time.
Oh, wow.
I want to know what adult Amy would tell her. if little Amy could have said, I had a dream about the Exorcist and feel like I'm being possessed.
Yeah.
What, like the perfect response to that little
Right.
bad dream.
I know when I was working with a therapist.
Not that it was a little bad dream, but that
Right.
young Amy and the bad dream.
Yeah. The EMDR therapist she did ask me that, and I couldn't really come up with the answer necessarily then. So she told me to let it marinate and write about it. And I did. I should pull those words out because I saved it, but
Did it help to write about it or?
I don't know.
I still feel like you don't have an answer. Like as I'm watching you process it and all of these things, I still feel like that thought, that fear that there is something that you can't be protected from is still there. That it hasn't been resolved at all.
It is.
Yeah.
I became kind of obsessed with ghost stories and hauntings, and especially the shows where they're trying to debunk it.
Yeah.
Because I want somebody to be able to say, here's what this really is.
Yeah.
This is what.
Here's what happened.
Well, I think the fact of the matter is there are things we can't protect ourselves or our children from. And how do you make peace with that?
Well,
I mean, that's a very overwhelming thought. Well, but that's exactly
true.
it.
I mean, if you believe in supernatural things, if you believe there are bad people in the world that do bad things that we can't stop, there are real and possibly supernatural monsters, and we can't always stop them.
It's something about, though, like I said, anything in this real world, I feel like at least I have a chance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, in the
real
world.
It might not be much of a chance, and I might be dead within 13 seconds, but I will fight you with every ounce of my being. But something about just being completely vulnerable because you're asleep, or because, I don't know, just it not being able to see it, but you can feel it, or things happening to you that you can't claw it, you can't kick it, you can't, like, what do you do?
Hold my hoop earrings. There we go.
That's if it's a man or
I
a woman.
know.
I will rip my
Right,
earrings off
right.
and I will fight you.
Absolutely.
And I will fight dirty, and I don't care. But
Amy will cut you.
if I can't see you,
Claw your eyes out.
right?
No,
But
I
I can see that, though. Like when Heather is asking you, what would Amy say? And you're like, I still don't have an answer. I still don't know how to bring 9-year-old Amy some peace with that, because I don't have peace with it yet.
I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, even as an adult. I mean, I've thought about, a part of the work was that I had to think about if this was my daughter at that age.
yeah.
And of course I would wrap her up in my arms, and I would hug her and kiss her and tell her I love her, and whatever it is, we'll fight it together, and I won't leave your side. But preventing it or truly I will bring in a priest who it will jump into and sacrifice himself for you.
He will die and it
do
will
that.
kill it. But oh man,
there was no resolution.
Yeah.
There's been no closure to that. It's still a scary idea. I remember Chip's mom, she saw it in the theater when it came out.
Oh my
And he
gosh.
was a brand new baby. And she had 2 other kids, a little girl and a boy that were older. And she was like, they better not cry out for me in the middle of the night, because I will not go.
no.
She was scared.
She was
That
terrified.
is scary.
It is a horrible, horrible movie.
Yes.
Well, I have
yeah.
never seen it, and I never will.
I don't. Yeah, I think that's
I don't
scared
like
that right on
horror
out
movies.
of you. It's one of those movies that it just, again, you can see the quote fake parts of it now, but
What's that Michelle Pfeiffer movie where she like goes under the water and
What Lies Beneath.
That's as scary as I can go.
I don't do scary movies for a reason, because I don't handle them well. I don't process them well. I usually do not remember my dreams. I've told you this, which I think it's a hyperactivity thing, but I don't remember my dreams. But if I have a nightmare, they will keep me awake for the rest of the night. Like I'm up. There's no shaking it. Blair Witch Project did that to me, which was totally lame because, of course, like the next day she was on the Steak and Shake commercials. But at the time,
I remember that.
I was so disappointed in that. But we saw it at midnight, the night it opened. And again, that's not my kind of movie, but I'm like, oh, sure, let's go. It'll be so much fun. And I had to run from my car to my house by myself. And the concept of doing that, like I had to build myself up. And then, of course, but then it was debunked very, very quickly. Again, the whole idea of it. And then the chick.
Because you went into it thinking that it was a real documentary. Like these kids really went into the woods with a video camera and this is what they recorded.
And all of the sudden, and it's jacked up and it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. It's not like you can explain this movie easily. And boom, 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 this happened, and then this. And people are like, ooh, that makes sense at the end. It is just completely a jacked up idea. But then all of a sudden, knowing that, no, this is bull and this chick is trying to sell me steak burgers,
Right.
Then I was like, oh, and so I could put that behind me. But when you can't do that,
Right.
when that concept is burned in, that can't happen. I mean, even when you see like, okay, I see this little girl. I see her putting makeup on. But they tell us all the time it's based in reality. And
Right.
we live in St. Louis. We got the house here. Let's go
Right.
take a look.
That's right.
Damn.
Well, just on my way here today, y'all,
Today.
I'm listening to True Crime Obsessed podcast, which I really enjoy, and it's funny. And they're talking about an upcoming episode that they're going to do. And there's a new documentary that features the director of The Exorcist, who says he made that movie without ever having seen a real exorcism take place. And in 2016, he was invited by a Catholic priest to go to an exorcism. And
Oh,
he
no.
went and he recorded it.
No.
And
They let him record it?
yeah,
No.
Wow.
No.
there's a documentary coming out about it. And
Don't see it, Amy.
Seriously.
well, part of also what I've done is tried to immerse myself in the true story
Yeah.
to try to figure out, was this really mental illness?
Is there any explanation?
Because this happened in the 50s, the
Yeah.
real story that happened in St. Louis with a little boy. I believe when I read the notes from that time, do you guys remember when I got the notes
Yes.
at work?
I do
And
remember.
So Father Halloran was one of the priests involved in the exorcism, and he kept a journal or a diary while the exorcism was going on. And I
Yeah.
read every page, every word of that. I have read the book that's supposed to be based on the real story. I've watched documentaries about it. And I think that might also be part of the reason why I became a counselor, because I got so convinced that this is mental illness and it was misdiagnosed and people didn't know what they were doing in the 50s. And so because a person's defecating or peeing on themselves or spitting or cursing obscenities or scratching themselves, they thought they were possessed.
Yeah.
But there's still stuff that are the parts that are unexplainable, that where I grapple with the reality of what is going on here. But
Well, I knew a counselor once that said a dog can have ticks and fleas. So you
explain what that means, Heather, because that's going to be lost on some people. Look, this
Two-
one. Look at Erin.
Yeah. This is the face of a lost person.
so a person two things can be happening at the same time.
Ah.
So something
missed the
supernatural, ticks and fleas.
And
A person
the
could.
emphasis needs to be on and.
That's right.
There we go. That's what I meant.
And is a powerful word.
There we go.
And I think it applies to a lot more than just this situation, but you could have somebody who is mentally ill and also is having some supernatural thing going on around them or to them.
Thank you for pointing
or-
that out, Amy, because the readers would not, or the readers, then again, that's not what you are. The listeners would have totally missed my face, but I am sure it told the whole story. Where I was like, yes, Heather.
The dog has ticks and fleas.
And
It can
fleas.
sometimes be two things.
It can be both.
Not just one or the
Bingo.
other.
Well, like Amityville Horror
Ooh.
was probably my second scariest movie.
Amityville Horror was one of the ones.
original Amityville Horror.
Again, this is Heather, and I do not watch horror films, and I've never seen it, and I never will.
You motivated me to watch that one because when we moved into our house,
You had flies.
we had flies and I could not.
Crazy.
Well, Amy freaked me out. I am not a supernatural person. I do not think there is a whole lot of weight with those things, and perhaps that's a defense mechanism and the denial kicking in, but that's fine. I do not usually go that route. I'm like, no, stop
That surprises me.
Really? Yeah.
Yes.
No, not a supernatural.
You're a religious person, and if
I
you
am.
don't want that known, then
Oh no, I'm a Christ follower. I have no problem sharing that.
So
But yeah,
that's
the
why
idea
I
of
thought
supernatural.
that's why that's surprising to me.
Yeah, no, I keep that at a distance. I don't like that idea at all.
And not that those things always go together. I know.
No, but I can very much understand why that's no, I don't go there at all.
I wish I
don't.
had been born and raised Jewish because they don't believe in all this demon nonsense.
Well, l'chaim. But yeah,
Shalom.
no. Shalom. Yes. No, I don't, I just don't, I don't believe in it. I just don't.
But you moved into this house
so
and you had a window.
my garage, my freaking garage. So we have a garage and we have two windows
Hold
that face
on,
the back.
I'm not the only person who's never seen the Amityville Horror. What?
Well, I'll get there.
Tell me about the
Let me explain
flies.
to you exactly how it came about.
All right.
We moved into our new house. We have a 2-car garage. It's got 2 windows in it. And of course, when you first move in, you're not using your garage every day. You've got too much crap in there. You're trying to get shit together. So as we start unpacking this garage and doing things, I literally was like, my gosh, there is a lot of freaking flies in this garage. What is going on? And so I would come in and spray like bug killer in my garage, and literally 20 minutes later, there were more flies. And when I was explaining to Amy, I'm like, Amy, I'm telling you, I walked into the garage this morning. I had just sprayed the night before and the garage was closed. So nothing else is getting in. I'm thinking it's wind patterns, all the fun stuff that usually you're like, this makes sense that these flies, these poor victim flies are being caught by the wind and shoved right into my garage. So the garage was closed. I'd sprayed and killed the flies. It appeared. And the next morning when I came into my garage, it literally looked like my windows were moving. They were covered like 200 flies and I was like, what in the beast is going on here? So I just come to work complaining to Amy about this, and Amy's face went white and her eyes got real wide and she goes, you do know that's how the Amityville Horror started.
That's
and I'm
how
like,
it started when they moved into a house and there was a window in their house that was constantly covered in flies. Constantly. And they called exterminators and stuff like that. And they finally called a priest because
there's not any natural, there's no natural way. So she introduced that to me in a very subtle way.
Did you call a priest, Erin?
I did not call a priest. I was like, okay, clearly something is wrong. So I started watching that movie and I was like, all right, there's something dead in here.
She got some holy water.
Which of course was what I'm like, there's something dead. There has to be something dead. Like that has to be the source of it. And so sure enough, we found a crack in the garage where I don't remember what I had done. I poured bleach. I poured bleach literally right underneath that crack that was in the wall, and I poured bleach right underneath it. And within like 30 seconds, things started climbing out of it. And I was like, okay.
What was it?
We have no idea. It's under the house. But whatever it was, that crack, I left the bleach out there for a while. There was a lot of dead flies and things that had come out of that crack. And then I sprayed like bug spray in there again. A lot of poison. My children did not go in the garage for like 2 weeks. Excuse me. But then the flies started coming out and then we sealed it. And the fly problem has dissipated.
Well, thank God.
So,
Yes.
yeah, whatever's going on over there.
No religious solution necessary.
No priests
And that's
necessary.
the kind of story that I really embrace and I appreciate.
Mm-hmm.
I love when it's a gap in the garage and you can pour poison in it and seal it up. That is beautiful.
That is a good one.
Okay, Amy, are you gonna?
Can you seal my crack?
What can we?
I'm gonna work on that.
What can we do to close you up so you don't have some nightmares tonight?
Well, I mean, I might have a nightmare. It's kind of part of my life. Honestly, I'm a very vivid dreamer for both good and bad. I've had very powerful dreams, very powerful nightmares, and
I'm gonna say some prayers for you.
Thank you.
Like I said, I know how raw this is for you. And as much as I would love to be like, yes, Heather and I are going to fix this, I clearly know you have put so much effort into
amazing
trying to deal with this. And trust me, like there are people out there, we hear it all the time, that we know there are people who are dealing with fear that we can't even imagine. And it still haunts them. And some of them have not even had the privilege of knowing what the source of it is, like you do, knowing the core that, okay, at the core, what it has to do with the fact is that I can't protect myself from everything. And there is something out there that I might not be able to deal with. So I know you've looked into that, but never stop looking. I think that's always my thought. Never stop looking, never stop seeking out how to make it better.
Right.
And we'll put a link to an EMDR therapist finder on our social media, so that if you're interested in that type of therapy, you can search to find one near you.
And find your box and lemon just to keep it at bay.
Right.
Yeah.
All
It
right.
totally
Should we
can
put
help.
a link to The Exorcist? No, I don't
No,
recommend
no
anybody
links.
watch The
No
Exorcist.
links to The Exorcist.
Don't want.
If you are crazy-
Amityville horror.
Don't watch it.
If you crazy
Okay.
mofos are going to go after that, we're not going to help you.
All right,
And if you
friends.
have ideas, let me know. I'm open to everything. So
Yeah. We'd love to hear it.
thanks for listening.
Absolutely.
Bye.
Later.
Bye.